Real people, real cases. This is Verdict Watch.
Yeah, in this case, there are 3 counts. First one, count 1 is rape. The agreement is 8 years at 85%, suspended after 100 days, day for day on consecutive weekends in the county workhouse. No contact with Lori Ewing and Tori Colby. To register and comply with the Tennessee Sex Register, community sue, provision for life, undergo standard treatment for sex offenders. Any restitution is to be determined. I think a claim has been filed with the Criminal Injury Compensation Fund.
All right, you want to hand that? Anything else? I'm sorry.
Count 2 is incest. It's 6 years at 100%, suspended to probation concurrent with count 1. Count 3, sexual battery by a parental figure, 6 years, range 1, suspended to probation concurrent also with count 1.
All right, Mr. Ewing, raise your right hand. Let's place you under oath.
Yes, ma'am.
State your full name for the record.
Richard Cecil Ewing.
Mr. Ewing, you're here today on a multi-count indictment. You've heard your lawyer go over what the agreement is, but have you seen or been shown a copy of the charges, talked them over with Mr. Brown, and you and he discussed the range of punishments you're facing as well as any possible defenses you might have?
Yes, sir.
Well, it's indicated you want to enter this plea of guilty to these charges. Do you understand you have a right to plead not guilty and to have a speedy and public trial by jury?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to have a lawyer and to have one appointed if you cannot afford your own?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if you went to trial, you'd be presumed to be innocent until such time, if ever, the state proved your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt to the satisfaction of all 12 jurors, and their verdict would have to be unanimous before you could be convicted of anything?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if you went to trial, you and your lawyer could confront and cross-examine every witness the state called to testify, and you could bring in your own witnesses by the use of a subpoena?
Yes, sir.
You understand that if you went to trial, you'd be presumed to be innocent, you would not have to testify or prove anything, and no inference of guilt would arise because you did not testify at your own trial?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would, and were found guilty, you could appeal that conviction and the sentence imposed to the Court of Criminal Appeals and have a lawyer appointed to help you with that appeal?
Yes, sir.
You understand that by entering this plea of guilty, you're waiving your right to a trial and to an appeal. All I'm going to do is set the punishment according to what you've agreed to. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
You understand that that's going to result in some convictions, and those convictions are going to be on your record in the future to make more severe the punishment you'll receive if you're ever again convicted of a crime.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand everything I've explained to you?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to plead guilty according to this agreement and waive your right to a trial and to an appeal?
Yes, sir.
Is your decision to plead guilty today voluntary?
Yes, sir.
Anybody forcing you to do this against your will?
No, sir.
You understand that if you plead guilty, the court of the state may ask you questions about this offense, and if you answer these questions under oath on the record and in the presence of your lawyer, your answers could later be used against you in a prosecution for perjury if it turns out you were lying about anything.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand I can't accept your plea unless I'm satisfied there is a factual basis for it and that you are in fact guilty?
Yes, sir.
Then I would ask you, since you're pleading guilty, are you in fact guilty of these charges that you're pleading guilty to?
Yes, sir.
Is the state going to give us a factual basis?
Judge, I can. I also have a victim impact statement to read and something to clarify on the sentence. So the proof would be that on the dates listed in the indictment that the defendant sexually penetrated the victim, who was his biological daughter, and who, even though she was an adult, suffered from an intellectual disability qualifying her as a vulnerable adult. That would also qualify as incest, and this contact would have happened while he was a paternal figure. Those are the 3 different counts of the indictment.
All right, and then Mr. Ewing, not asking that, well, I guess I am asking, you understand that's what the state's evidence would be. You pled guilty to that, right?
Yes, sir.
And are you satisfied with your attorney services?
Yes, sir.
You feel like Mr. Brown's done a good job of representing you competently?
You sure have.
Mr. Brown, do you know of any reason you should not enter this plea?
I do not.
Then have a seat over here at this table while the state tells me what reads the victim impact statement. Gentlemen, if you're ready to read that victim impact statement.
I am, Judge. There are two statements, one from the victim, who, as I said, is a intellectually disabled adult, and a second statement from her sister, who is her caregiver.
All right.
The first statement from the victim says, "I am hurt for what you did to me, and I can't understand why you did what you did. Why would you do that to your daughter? I am upset that I've had to leave my home and my kitties. I hope God forgives you." Her caregiver writes this: "As a parent, I would give my life for my child if their safety were ever in question. That's what a good parent does. Parenting is about loving your child unconditionally, teaching them to grow, to be happy and productive people in society, but most importantly, providing them safety and security in a not so kind world. You have failed the victim in this way. You have abused the trust of someone who has such a good and kind soul because she has a cognitive delay and thought you'd get away with it by telling her not to tell. Your secret is out for the world to see. No more sexually deviant things going on behind closed door, all while you're smiling at people in church and in your community. The whole world will know that you, as a former prison guard for sexual offenders, are now where your own life choices of perversion and sexual abuse. As for me, I have nothing but anger and loathing towards you. I am resentful to you, not her, for again making me pick up your parenting slack. From the time I was a young child, I've had to and knew someday I'd need to look after her. Because of this current situation, I've had to take on this role sooner than expected, at just the time in my life where I have raised my kids and was looking forward to focusing on myself for the first time ever. You had no idea that she'd tell your dirty secrets. I'm so proud that she did. I'm glad to see her adapting and thriving in a life that no longer consists of having to work around the house all the time, be in a toxic home life with ranting and yelling, or having to perform sexual favors for you. I'm glad she feels at peace at my house. I am excited for her to learn how a family functions. Make no mistake, the damage you've caused her emotionally is irreparable, especially given her cognitive abilities. How will she trust? How will she know to not be deceptive or keep secrets? How will she ever get to be happy and productive when you've taken the basic needs that a parent should provide and violated them in the worst ways? I hope you ask yourself this daily. Whatever is decided is all better than you deserve. Thank you for listening.
Mr. Ewing, come back to the podium. It is within my authority to reject this plea and to put you to trial on these charges. Because in my opinion, the most important relationship that a family can have is between the parents and the children. It's greater, in my opinion, than the relationship between spouses in some respects, not to diminish that relationship, but children are vulnerable and they come up to life depending on their parents to be their safe harbor, to be the people that they would rely upon to protect them from the bad people in the world. And when one of those bad people turns out to be their parent, like you, it becomes especially heartbreaking. And what's even more reprehensible about this case is the fact that your daughter is developmentally delayed, and as a result of that, you took advantage of a child that even may have been in need of greater parental responsibilities on your part than a normal child. The reason I'm not going to reject this plea and put you to trial is for that reason, to protect your daughter. Your daughter and her sister have agreed to this as being in her best interest, and it gives her some finality with it. But I believe this sentence is far too little for what you did to your daughter. And the fact of the matter is that if you ever come back before me on a violation of probation, I don't care how old you are, you will go to prison and you'll serve every day of that and any additional time I can give you. So, Mr. Ewing, upon your plea of guilty to the charge of rape, I find you guilty, and by agreement with the state and the victims in this case, sentence you to 8 years in the Tennessee Department of Corrections. That would be served if you had to serve it at an 85% release eligibility. But it will be suspended after you serve 100 days, day for day, on a consecutive weekend. There will be no contact with Laura Ewing and Tori Kolb. You will have to register and comply with the Tennessee Sexual Offender Registry, and you'll have community supervision for life. You'll undergo standard treatment for sex offenders and pay restitution to be determined. The count 2, you're found guilty of incest. You receive a sentence of 6 years at 100% to be served if you have to serve it, suspended to probation. That'll be concurrent with count 1. Count 3, sexual battery by a parental figure. You're sentenced to 6 years as a range 1 offender, suspended to probation, concurrent with count 1. All of this will be served concurrently for a total of 8 years, is that correct? And he'll serve 100 days. He'll begin serving that sentence this Friday and serve consecutive weekends. That means you miss one weekend, you're going to prison for 8 years. You understand that? I don't care if you're sick or whatever. You go to prison or go to jail and you serve that weekend, or else you'll be going to prison. That's the judgment of the court.
Judge, probation asked that I clarify, it was our intent in structuring this offer that he would be reporting to probation the full time. We're not waiting for him to complete the 100 days.
No, he starts reporting to probation immediately, so he needs to meet with them today.
And Judge, one more thing I will put on the record.
What's the amount of restitution? I'm sorry.
So the restitution is reserved because the victim is applying to the Criminals Injuries Compensation Fund. If there is an award from that, we would be seeking him to reimburse the compensation fund for that award. We don't know if there will be an award yet, so I would just like a status date on restitution in 6 months.
All right. You'll need to see the probation. Call the next case.
Thanks for watching Verdict Watch. New court drama every day. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss a case. Leave a comment with your thoughts. We're watching too.